Hi, my name is Todd Cole. I'd like to share some books, children's books, picture books about Asian Americans. During the last couple of years, I think we've seen a concern about some of our Asian Americans and how they may be treated. So these are just celebratory books and some about the history of Asian Americans. So, Friends Are Friends Forever, written by Dane Louis and illustrated by Lynn Scorfield. It's a story of two children who live in China, and one is immigrating with her family to America. And so it's how she keeps the relationship with her best friend in China and how she has to make new friends in America. And the struggle that sometimes comes with trying to stay friends so far away and make new friends that are so close. Lubna and Pebble, by Wendy Medore and Daniel Ignace. Listen to this. Luba's best friend is a pebble. Pebble always listens to her stories, and Pebble always smiles when she feels scared. But when a lost little boy arrives in the world of tents, Lubna realizes that he needs the pebble even more than she does. An unforgettable story about the power of friendship from an award-winning team. And you could have an activity where you paint your own pebbles. She put a smile on hers so that she always could see the smile of the pebble looking up at her. So a neat story. And it's an award winner. Celebrate Chinese New Year, and this is through the National Geographic, with fireworks, dragons, and lanterns, and all the different celebrations they have during the year. I didn't realize there were 15 days. But yeah, I learned a lot in here. And again, real photographs, whereas the other two I just shared with you were illustrations or paintings. But we can certainly make our own lanterns. Hope and promise. We travel to be with our families, because it's a big country. Long before the festival begins, we have things to do, so they have to do a lot of preparation. There is plenty to eat. Sing, play, eat. Looks like they're doing patty cake, sort of like we did, or we do. We let the old year out. Good wishes. On the New Year's Day, we pay respect to the oldest members of our families, and we honor the ancestors. We watch the parade of lights. We dance with dragons. Bang, clang, boom. So they have fireworks too, like we do. We have done everything we can to start the new year off right. We have honored our families. We have had feasts and fireworks, dancing and bright lights. We have celebrated the end of winter, and now we welcome the promise of spring. We wish you a happy new year. Gong Ye Fat Chow. I'm probably saying that the wrong way, but happy new year. And it has the calendar of events, more about Chinese New Year, just fun facts. A goodie. The Moon Festival Wishes by Julian Lin. The moon is big and round tonight. Today's a special day for May and her family. It is the Chinese Moon Festival. In the beautifully illustrated book, children aged 2 to 6 will follow May as she and her family prepare to celebrate the moon of the Mid-Autumn Festival. They will also enjoy reading the story behind one of the most important Chinese celebrations. Celebrating the Chinese New Year, history, traditions, and activities. Holiday books for kids. The next three speak of when the Asian Americans or the Japanese were held in camps. Some of us may not know about it, but I can tell you that in fourth grade at Laurel, we did read some stories within our reading series about that. The bracelet, baseball saved us when kids actually had a baseball team at the camps. So that provided them with some joy, some release. A place where sunflowers grow. I like this one too, and it would be a great one to read right about now because we know that the Ukraine national flower is a sunflower. Listen to this, a richly informative introduction to the subject little addressed in works for children, with the emphasis on dignity and feelings, offers the gentlest introduction to this tragic episode. The watercolors spread both provide historical information and convey the story emotional weight, and do both with grace. Love it. A place where sunflowers grow. This one won the Caldecott this year, Watercress, and it's by Andrea Wang and illustrations by Jason Chin. And it's a story of Asian Americans, and they live in Ohio. And as they're driving on the interstate, they come across some watercress. And so they pull over to their car and they pick the watercress and they go home and they clean it and cook it. And the kids aren't really into it. And the parents want to teach them about their heritage and how they used watercress in China. So it's a good one to, and it actually has information about the author and the artist, and the very last words are, "Together we eat it all and make a new memory of watercress." So they're bringing the memory from China to America. The Name Jar, a girl who's coming to America and she doesn't like her name because she's afraid it will be hard for everyone to pronounce. And so she's putting different names in the jar. And eventually, the kids love her name. And they're making up names for themselves that are different than the ones that they have. Listen to this in the back. It's a new country and a new town and a new school for An-hye. So what about a new name? Having just arrived from Korea with her family, An-hye is anxious about making friends and worried that no one will be able to pronounce her name. Instead of introducing herself on the first day of school, she decides to pick a new name. The only problem is that she doesn't know what name to choose. She meets a very good friend at the end. An-hye, An-hye, come downstairs, Mother called up to An-hye. Your friend is here. An-hye rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was the name jar. Where did you find it? Asked An-hye breathlessly. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it. But only because I wanted you to keep your own name. You did it. He reached in and pulled out the names. Do you want to keep them? He asked. Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir. Then she pulled out the piece of paper from her pocket. Do you want this back? Joey grinned. You can keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean nicknames in it for us. Names with good meanings. I could do that, agreed An-hye. I've already got a Korean nickname, Joey said. Mr. Kim helped me choose it, which is the teacher. Carefully, he pulled out a small silver felt pouch from his pocket, and he took out a dark wooden stamp with beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it, and he pressed it on the ink pad and then on the piece of paper next to her name. Chinku, read Anye. That means friend. And Chinku smiled back. I Am Golden, It's New by Eva Chen. And read the inside. What do you see when you look in the mirror, May? Do you see beauty? We see eyes that point toward the sun and give us the warmth and joy of 1,000 rays when you smile. We see hair as inky black and smooth as a peaceful night sky. We see skin brushed with gold. This joyful and lyrical picture book from New York Times bestseller Eva Chen is moving ode to the immigrant experience, as well as a manifesto of self-love for Chinese American children. The next two, the final two, this one is maybe a couple years old, and then this is its partner. The first one talks about a girl, the second one talks about a boy, but the description of the eyes that kiss in the corners, a young girl notices that her eyes look different from her friends. They have big round eyes and long lashes. The girl realizes that her eyes kiss in the corners and glow like warm tea, crinkle in the crescent moons, and are filled with stories from the past and hope for the future. In fact, her eyes are like her mother's and her grandmother's and her sister's, and they are beautiful. But she learns that there's a difference. And the same thing goes here. Eyes That Speak to the Stars by Joanna Ho and illustrated by Dong Ho. Listen to this. A young boy notices that his eyes look different from his friends. They have big round eyes, and the boy realizes his eyes rise to the skies and speak to the stars, shine like sunlit rays, and glimpse trails of light from those who came before. In fact, his eyes are like his father's and his little brother's, and they are visionary. The Eyes That Speak to the Stars is a stunning companion to Eyes That Kiss in the Corners. Words that are extraordinary, celestial illustrations inspire readers to recognize their own power and strength from within and redefine what it means to be truly you. There are some in here that even have recipes at the end that talk about mixed rice. And so there's so many different ways that we can celebrate the Asian American history and their culture. And children's books are a great avenue. Thanks for listening.